Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Beneath the Surface. Let's dig in. We have a remarkable woman joining us today to share her journey. The founder of Earthy Sapo, a brand born out of mother's love and with a vision to break stereotypical standards. She is a mother and entrepreneur and holds a thriving business along with playing multiple roles with perfection. Her journey is a testament to the power of love, determination, persistence, resilience, and the pursuit of having a healthy skin for all. Let's welcome her, Sheetal Kabra Mohanty. Hi, Sheetal. How are you doing?
Hi, thanks. I'm doing well. Hope so are you.
Yes, we are doing great, and we are so glad to have you in our podcast, our very first episode. And I have been wanting to start this podcast with you. There's no one better than you to start the podcast with, so I'm glad to have you here. So let's dig in. So my
Sure.
first question would be to you: how did the thought of Earthy Sapo came, and how did the inception of Earthy Sapo happen?
See, the Sapo is not really a result of any business plan. Okay, it was more of my taking forward a passion or a belief, taking one step at a time. And uh, soon I realized that if I have to, do justice to this passion and to my customers, then I would have to, you know, s- take it up formally as a business. Basically, my I'm a eczema patient. I've suffered with skin related problems since childhood, but never did I ever turn to natural personal care. It was only when my daughter, when she was barely a month old and she didn't react too well to commercial soaps, that I realized that there's something more to soap than what we see, and that a soap can have an impact on our skin. And also, based on my research, I understood that it also can impact you internally. It gets absorbed into your skin. That's I guess that was the turning point. That was the time when I got introduced to all this, and I think it was destiny that led me to this path. And when I used the soap on her and myself both, I did see that our skins did not react adversely. And that was the belief, and that's when the realization actually hit upon me that there is a difference between a natural soap and a commercial soap. And that's how it all started. And then I started making soaps and sharing it with friends and family, farmers market. And for about a good 2 years, I think I was doing this before I took the step forward of making it a formal business, taking the licenses and going ahead with it.
So this was more of an R&D that you were doing in the first 2 years of experimenting and checking your variety of soaps, and then you ventured into Earthy Sapo.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say it was just R&D, because R&D happens every time. Every new ingredient you try, every new formulation you try, the more the number of people, the more feedback you get. I think I still get feedback. But now that the products have been tried by quite a few people, I know the percentages, how many people are likely to have this issue or likely to have an allergy. When you start, you have no clue as to
Correct.
who are going to be your consumers. The 2 years, mostly it was, I think I was trying to understand the need for this product in the market. For me, it was more of sharing my experience with people.
Correct.
It was
Correct.
never with an intention to, do a business. But those 2 years, it was more about seeing, is there really a need? Are people really looking for something like this? Should I be going ahead with it or not? What actually people are looking for, and what suits them, what doesn't suit them. So actually, these 2 years were good, a good period for me to even understand the customers as to what is
Correct.
the real need for it, what are the issues, what are the concerns. You have a good product, you have a manufacturer right in front of you, but still people have certain concerns. And I think that was very important for me to understand, whether it is price, it is packaging, it is ingredients, or whatever it is. So
Correct.
these 2 years were more of that. And I didn't want to just get carried away by this, the whatever reports you get to see. Oh, there's a demand for this market industry is growing by this percentage. You need to be on the ground to know what really is needed. what the demand is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So when you started Earthy Sapo, what were your awareness about opening a company, or should I put it this way, that what was your constitution of the organization when you started, and why did you choose so?
I had no plan, no, I mean, as I said, I had no clue. So I was the whole and soul doing everything. So it didn't even occur to me, I didn't feel any need to, formally make a corporate or a company because I was still understanding. I was figuring out what is it to like run a business, you know.
Correct.
So I chose to be a proprietorship because
Okay.
it's a convenient extension to what I was doing, and
Okay.
secondly, from what I understand, every constitution has different compliance requirements, right? So I
Hmm. Hmm.
wanted to get into probably a private, maybe I will get into a private company or something like that as a constitution, but later point in time, once I'm more sure about the compliances, I'll be able to handle the compliances efficiently, and I can deal with them. Till then I didn't
Correct.
want to get into anything which is too heavy on compliance. It's
Correct.
difficult initially. I wanted to keep it simple, so I chose
Correct.
to be a
Correct.
proprietorship, and I continue to be a proprietorship.
That's amazing. And when you started, what were your awareness about marketing? How did the name or the Sapu came to you, and how did the logo came to you, or the colors came to you? How did you relate and make it?
I honestly, my contribution to the logo was not much. I had hired a designer, and
Okay.
he came up with it and he gave it to me, and I just took it. But if you ask me now, probably I would, if I were to give a logo for designing, there would be a lot more that I would, give the
Correct.
criteria. But that
Hmm.
time,
Hmm.
I was too naive, too new to this entire concept. So I really didn't do much in that. But yes, um, only input which I had given to him was my product and the ethos on which it stands, and that's how he came up with it. The Sapo, the name is it's quite impromptu kind of a thing that happened. I was thinking of naming it the soaps. The
Okay.
always was there. The soaps, and my sister said soaps is really cliche, Sheetal. Why don't you think about something different? And I was like
Okay.
what? So she said, how about sapo? I said, what is sapo? So she said, it's a Latin term for soap. So why don't you make it earthy sapo? It'll be little different. And that's
Correct.
how we said, okay, that sounds cool, and that's how we started earthy sapo.
But
So
this
yeah,
this
that's
is a name which I think relates to all generation, because it has a touch of your rustic and traditional feel to the first part, and then
yes,
Sappho gives the modern touch to it. So yeah,
yes,
so
yes.
we love the name personally a lot.
I'm glad.
Uh, and what were the first products that you launched? If you remember, what the first soap that you made, handmade, and you launched it, and people loved it.
I don't remember what was. I don't think I really launched just one soap. I think it was
Okay,
range of soaps which
soaps.
I launched, and but they were mostly body soaps that I
Okay.
launched. So I had launched initially, and I remember this is what I remember. I remember it was mostly for dry skin, because I
Okay.
had dry skin. And
Yeah.
then later on, I thought ki maybe I'll just try one soap for oily skin. And then I realized, okay, people even have something known as a normal skin or a combination skin. So that's how each soap came into being. But it was never just one soap. It was, of
Okay.
course,
Okay.
more of dry skin soap initially, and then later I started making different varieties of soaps to suit different needs, skin needs.
Correct. Correct. So when you started, I'm sure you would have struggled a lot finding the right vendors to get the right, ingredients and the product. So what were your struggle there, and how did you identify those vendors?
The struggle was not just then, it continues even now. The So initially the struggle was little different. first you need to get, as a startup, as a small entrepreneur, you need to get someone who is willing to provide you the quantity that you need. You can't afford big, huge volumes of or quantity of
Correct.
raw materials. So first you need to find somebody like that, and then when you get them, then it's about even the reliability and trust, whether they will deliver it to you or not, the quality, the pricing, etc. But I think initially getting vendors for me was still very easy. Mostly online, and a couple of them were through references, like, so and so is doing this job, and maybe you can have a word with him and see. So it was through relatives or through known people, and
Correct.
they were kind enough to accommodate my requests, and I continue to be with them, because they really supported me and helped me in the initial stage. um,
Correct.
the issue which I face now is more about the trust. Unfortunately, now I find it difficult to get the right vendors. It's not The quantity is not an issue anymore. It's more about the quality and the serviceability, as I may put it. So I think now it's more about, I am trying to stick to more through references.
Correct.
Somebody has a trusted vendor, and if they're willing to share the coordinates, that's how I try now, because now it's everything is online. You reach out to people online, and
Correct. Correct.
yeah, that's where the whole issue is. So yeah.
Correct. Correct. So this struggle is, should I put it this way, is an ongoing struggle that
Oh
we can
yes.
never,
Yes,
we
yes.
cannot come out of this. I think this is
Yeah,
every startup founder's struggle.
yeah, because you need a vendor for everything. It's just not a product or an
Correct.
ingredient. You need for packaging, you need for some service, you need for some
Yeah. Yeah.
compliance, consultation. So there's a whole list of it. And you will
Correct.
need a vendor for the smallest thing, even if it is stickers or printing. You need a
Correct.
vendor, and you need someone whom you can count on, rely on easily. There have been instances where, the first time the experience has been good, but the second time they really mess it up. Sometimes the product quality is good, but the way they handle your entire service is bad. So there's so many features to it, and I don't think you can just settle on one forever. You have to
Correct.
um keep on, trying to get references. I think references is the best thing one can count on
Count on.
currently.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if I have to ask you, what is your work week that you had before when you started versus how is your work week now? Like, what is the difference and how do you feel about it?
So earlier it was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now I think it is probably 18 hours a day, 6.5 days a week. So now actually, earlier my working hours, I mean official working hours, were 4 or 5 hours only, because I had to take care of my kid, attend to her when
Correct.
she's back and all that. But I was doing a lot of work at home, overnight, attending to requests, so whatever work needed to be done late in the hours in the night, I was doing all of that. I was juggling with that. Now my official working hours have increased, but the work which I take home is now limited. I do take home work, there's no denial about it, and so I still get that. So that's why I'm getting that half a day on Sundays. Earlier, I did not even have Sundays to me. I was working even on Sundays, but now I have half a Sunday for myself.
That's great, but I think, I hope and I wish that you have more of your Sundays, like full Sundays, and then
Yes,
you also
yes.
have your Saturdays off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope so too. And that's my plan, that whenever it happens, at least Saturdays I would want to make it half day, or maybe, just
Correct.
limited activities. But uh, it seems to be a challenge currently. I think it's a challenge for most of the startups, because
Yes, yes.
there's a limit to which you can keep outsourcing stuff, and getting
Correct.
resources is also you need to get good resources, and by resources I mean human resources, not just
Correct.
money. So wherever there's a human source requirement, I think that's where the challenge comes.
Correct, correct. So when you see this difference in your work hours, when I compare it from when you started to now, and then you were a very new mother, and now that your child has even grown up, but still the pressure lingers on, right? It's
Yeah,
not like the pressure from your head goes away. So how
yeah.
much did it take toll on your mind, and did you feel pressurized? How did you handle it? Also, being a mompreneur, when your baby was small, starting a business would have been, I'm sure, very difficult. How did you handle with all these challenges?
See, the pressure, I think, business pressure will be there. It's common to all startups, all businesses, regardless of the gender. But I think a woman is subjected to a lot of other kind of social pressure,
Yeah,
especially as a mother. People are very quick to pass judgments and decide what you should be doing. You're always constantly made to feel guilty. You have to prove yourself for everything. So
correct.
the challenges which I faced, you would be surprised, but there were questions whether how serious I am about my work. The general
Okay,
perception was that if she's a mother and she's doing it, she's basically doing a hobby. People could not understand that this is a business I'm serious about. Because if I'm serious about a business, that means that I am ignoring my child. That's their understanding. So that kind of pressure, I think, was unfair, and I think that's what most of the mothers go through. But I was very fortunate that my parents supported me a lot. They would constantly, especially my mom, she would constantly keep encouraging me, motivating me. And my sisters told me, stop feeling guilty. I was made to feel guilty like hell for everything. If I had to leave my child at the daycare, oh my God, what are you doing? Why are you leaving her at a daycare? You are working from home or whatever. If I'm not able to take her to a class, then you have made to feel guilty. Yeah, so those pressures, I think, take a toll. They really do take a toll, because all said and done, mother is the primary caregiver in our country. And I'm not
correct,
sure world around, but in our country, and it can be a little unfair, because it's too much of pressure. Too much of pressure. You need that support system. But yes, I got that support system from my parents. And my sisters, who are also working, would constantly keep telling me, to stop feeling guilty. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And I guess that's how I just kept on. But if you ask me, I became a little aggressive.
correct,
That pressure, my way of dealing with the pressure was to become aggressive. So I became really aggressive. And I mean, I was immature enough to become aggressive at that time. But yeah, that's what it did to me at that point
correct,
in time.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct, correct. And how do you right now define work-life balance? Like now that you have overcome lot of things that were new to you when you started, and you have now settled down a bit in a lot of ways, and there are also new challenges coming up. But still, if you had to, define work-life balance, especially being a women entrepreneur, so how do you define it?
Work life balance is a very nice term, but I think it would suit mostly the employees. Yeah. Wherein you can just shut the everything and tell, like, I'm not working now. Don't,
Correct,
these are my off days or vacation days. But that unfortunately, doesn't apply to a founder or to a startup. I'm not even sure if I can call myself a startup. I would call myself a small business, but it doesn't
correct.
apply to me because we are short on resources.
Hmm.
Okay, so human resource is the biggest thing, skilled resource is the biggest thing that we are short on. And I no matter how much I would want to turn off my phone, I mean, now I've started switching off my phone at 10:30 in the night. But no matter how much I would want to do that, there is always something which comes up. You need to ultimately, it's my business which is going to take a toll. Some vendor, some platform will shoot out an email saying that, if you do not respond to it within so many hours, there are timelines, deadlines I have to meet. So I am not able to manage the work and home personal life as well I would want it to be. But
Correct.
I think we all, even as customers and people, need to understand that the unless and until it's an emergency, we shouldn't be reaching out to people at odd hours. I have a lot of
Absolutely.
customers reaching out to me, whether it's in the form of
Okay.
email, messages, calls, very at odd hours. They don't
Okay.
understand that sense of timing seems to be lost. Now that we've got mobile phones and internet and WhatsApp, I guess people are becoming more and more impatient. You want everything
Correct.
now. So,
Correct.
work-life balance is not something I have been very good at so far, and I hope that later on it improves. I mean, as I said, I want to make Sundays for myself and my family, and
Correct.
that's my daughter's complaint always that, Mama, when will we go out? When will we do this? And I have to squeeze out time on Sundays. Yes.
Correct, correct. I think it's high time that you make your Sundays an off day now, completely for yourself, and I think you will also start seeing a difference post that
Yes, I
making
want
the
to do it, but as I said,
somehow
human
it doesn't
resources
work.
are challenge.
Yeah, yeah. And if I had to ask you five things that you would tell your younger self, like if you could go back in time and tell your younger self that, okay, Sheetal, these are the things you shouldn't do, or this is how you should do. What are that five things that you'd like to advise yourself?
Five things. One thing definitely would be to ask myself to slow down a bit, in the sense that, don't be too harsh on yourself. I think
Correct.
I was little too harsh on myself, and that's what, a working woman is expected to be a superwoman. And that
Yeah,
actually takes a whole lot of toll on you. And I think that took a whole lot of toll on me mentally, because
correct,
you're
correct.
constantly justifying each and everything that you're doing. There's no need for
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
I would advise myself to just take it easy and shut your ears to these comments and judgments. That is one thing I would tell, but I don't think one would understand that unless until you go through it. So yeah, one would be that. Second would be to focus more on health.
Okay,
Prioritize health. Regardless of what is your career, whatever profession you are in, health has to be your priority, because health, and by health I mean both physical and mental. So
yeah,
health
yeah.
has to be your priority. You shouldn't be ignoring that. Nothing should come before that. And
Correct.
the third one would be to invest little more time in yourself. It's okay to invest, and you should. Unfortunately, in our country, if a woman, a mother, invests time in herself, she's made to feel guilty. It's always a binary thing, and I was made to do that.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
moment if I am investing little time for myself, I am taking that me time. I mean, you're working. Second, you're taking time for yourself. So you're being a very, not a very loving and caring mother.
Okay.
So there are always questions arising around it, and yeah, but that is needed. You need little time for yourself, doing something which will keep you happy, help you de-stress. I think these three things I would definitely tell myself. How I wish I was little more focused on these three things then, but nonetheless I am now. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I can't think of the other two.
Okay, now our last and final question, and then we have a very fun section that we'll dive into. So the last question is for our young entrepreneurs who are watching this podcast. If you had to give them one advice, which has maybe stayed with you, and you want to take it forward and tell the world out that do this, or one simple advice that can make their journey easier.
I think the reality check is needed. We
Yeah,
need to stop glorifying entrepreneurship. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. They think it's a very glamorous and a cool job. It is not.
yeah,
Uh, it is a full-time investment. It is a complete. Like I said, I was working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I did not take off for several years. I had no vacation. It is very demanding, and
yeah,
you need to come to terms with that you are getting into something which is, it's not that today I set up a business and tomorrow I'm going to start seeing the
yes,
returns of it. One is that. Second is, be clear. I mean, do something which you're passionate about.
correct.
So do something which you understand. Just don't
Mm.
do and follow what people say and get into a business just because one, you'll get an entrepreneur tag, and two, you think that it's going to make you earn money. Honestly, in business, you don't get returns immediately. There's a lot of investment. For several years, I didn't take home a single penny, right? So you need to understand that. But when you are in job, you are getting money into your account every month. And so understand these things. There's no point in getting into something just because everyone is saying so. One is, definitely you need to do something which you understand. Getting into something where you don't understand, whether it's a product or a service, you are likely to fail, because you can't be doing it efficiently. You will be relying on a lot of other people who may not be very sincere about the work. So it's
Mm.
very important that you follow your passion and belief. Third would be, just stick to it. If you are passionate about and you believe strongly in your product, in your service, stick to it. Be patient. You have to be patient. Businesses don't, I mean, things don't set up overnight, right? You
Correct.
need to be patient. And if I were to suggest something, which people really don't talk about, and I think it is very important. It is basically about the processes. As an entrepreneur, I think one should know the each and every process in the business. Be
Correct.
like, mine is a manufacturing, right? So not only should I be good at manufacturing, I should also be aware about the packaging, the logistics, the order packing, customer service, compliance, accounting,
Correct.
everything. You need to have a system in place, inventory management, warehouse management. There's so many aspects, and you can lose a lot of money in when you go wrong in any of these. Not
Correct.
just
Correct.
the product, but each and every service, each and every aspect of it. I spend a whole lot of time in the accounting, taxation, and compliance part,
Correct.
because that is needed.
Thank you, Sheetal. It was a very, very insightful conversation with you. Now we have a very fun section where we are going to ask you something very lighter, not so
Okay.
serious question. It's completely to dive into some games. So
Okay.
so our first question, if you were deserted in an island, and
Uh,
you have no one around you, but you have got your basic amenities, but you are allowed to take one of your product with you, only one of your product with you. What is that one product you'll take away to
one of
that place?
my product
Yeah,
to
your
the island.
product. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. Um, Probably I would take the body oil.
Okay, okay. So you'll manage without your soaps. I think I assumed
I've got
you'll
a
take your.
dry skin. I've got a super dry skin, so I need the body oil. So I would I would go for that.
Okay, so the second question, you have a daughter and
Yes,
she is in Z, if I'm not wrong.
yes, yes, yeah,
So,
very much.
so if I had to ask one thing that you teach her, and
Huh.
one thing only, but I know she would be teaching you a lot of, things, but one thing that she teaches you all the time.
Oh, she keeps telling me, Mom, you don't know how to operate your phone also. You don't know how to operate your camera also. There's this setting and that setting, and it irritates me so much because actually, I that's the truth. I don't know those features were there. The other day she was saying, don't you know that in YouTube you can even do this? I was like, no, I didn't know. I've been using it. But that's the truth. She keeps teaching me that. And if I were to teach her, I would teach her to be patient. I think they lack patience. So I
Yeah,
would teach
yeah.
her patience, but she's too impatient to even learn that. Yeah.
That's very funny. And if you were not a entrepreneur, which you became by chance or by choice, it was a combination of both. What was the other profession that you would have chosen, like that you always wanted to pursue?
I think I would do well in anything creative. Um,
Yeah.
I enjoy doing things with hand. Other thing, though in the corporate world, I mean, I got into a wrong field, but I think I would have done well in anything which even requires, what shall I say, designing. Mm, Even if it were programming, I mean, I'm pretty good at thinking through, the
Correct,
entire
correct.
chain. So I would think I would have done well there, but since the programming is too technical, I think I would leave it at some designing creative aspect. Maybe I think I would have done well in some creative arts.
Okay.
Maybe yeah, maybe crafts or something. Maybe clay or pottery or something like that. I would have done
If
well.
you were to be creative on a corporate side, then we have marketing open all the time. We have a
Okay.
lot of designs to be done, lot of creativity required. So yeah, so I think that is where we can sync together. Our last and final question, that one thing that you can't resist eating when you see, but you know that okay, this is not good, but you still can't resist it, like you can keep gulping and munching.
They're not just one thing, there are plenty of it and mostly sweets. I just love sweets and that too desi sweets like moong dal halwa, gulab jamun,
Oh.
jalebi. Oh my God. I mean, I just can't stop at one. But if I don't stop at one, I know it's not going to, do well to me, but I just can't stop at one. There was a time when my mother would hide the entire, thing inside an almirah. She used to actually lock it because I would open it, take it in my room quietly, shut the door, and I would be only eating that. Pata chala gayab ho gaya, and then who's eaten it, Sheetal? So, so yeah, I think sweets, especially moong dal halwa, is my
Favorite.
weakness. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I just love them.
Thank you, Sheetal, for giving your time. It was a lovely, fun conversation. Lot of insights
Thank
that
you so
we,
much.
got from you, and I hope that our viewers will love this and give us the equal love and support for starting this up. Thank you so much, Sheetal.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me here.